Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. Today we got more Mr. Ballen. We're going to continue down all of his videos. I've been doing a lot of them, so I know I said I'll do his haunted one next, but this one caught my eye, so I was going to do this one first, and then I'll do it. So trust me, that is still coming. That will be guaranteed the next one I do. So, what is this video? Well, this is horrifying home invasion in a safe neighborhood. So, let's get into this.
We all like to believe that when we are home, behind our shut and locked doors and shut and locked windows, tucked away inside of our bedroom under our covers, that we're safe. That our family members in their bedrooms, they're all safe. But in reality, that's not true.
That should be, but unfortunately it's not.
Most of the time it is, and most of the time that illusion of safety is enough that you don't think about it very often, that someone actually could probably break into your house if they wanted to. Not all houses, some people are much more prepared than others, but most people never have to worry about that actually becoming a reality, someone breaking into their home. But there are people that do live that nightmare, when the place they look at as safe becomes unsafe. Today's story is about someone who believed they lived in a safe house, in a safe neighborhood. But in a moment's notice, that illusion was shattered. Before we get into today's story, if you are a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious told in story format, well, then you've discovered the right channel, because that's all I do, and I upload 3 to 4 times a week. So if that's your style and you might be interested in something like that, I would encourage you to please gently incinerate keep it together, here we go. Please gently incinerate the like button, and then
I love his break of laughter because it's the most real thing. Because you're like, he literally cannot keep his composure with these. I love it.
And subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any of those weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's story. In 2017, a woman had just moved in to a beautiful home in Northern California that was just outside the suburbs. It was in kind of a more rural area. There wasn't any street lights. She did have neighbors, but they were, pretty far away from where she was actually staying. But she loved it, and it was this beautiful area. She'd go outside at night on her porch, and she'd look up, and because there wasn't much light pollution, she could see the stars, and she just loved it. And even though she didn't see her neighbors very often, she knew them. They were older. They were really nice. It was just like a really warm, welcoming neighborhood, albeit people enjoyed their space, but it was safe. And it was a place that she truly loved and didn't expect to move anytime soon. Later that year, in the winter, she got home from work one day. She had a long shift, she was exhausted, and she pulls into her driveway, and when she steps out, she immediately smelled cigarette smoke. She didn't smoke. She didn't think her neighbors smoked. It was not a high-trafficked area. They're in kind of this rural part of Northern California, and her street, the only people that really ever went on it were her and her neighbors. And so she was thinking, like, who was smoking near my house? But it was...
And I feel better now.
It was really, really foggy this day. She could barely see, even when she was pulling into her driveway, she could only see what her headlights had illuminated on her house.
Wow, okay, so yeah, that's not a good time to have a home invasion happen, because you won't be able to see that person, they're right in front of you.
It was like no visibility. She kind of glanced around, but she was like, you know what? I'm so tired. I just want to go to bed. So she just kind of forgets about the cigarette smoke, wasn't really that concerned about it, and goes in her house. And even though it's like 7 o'clock, she's like, I'm just going to go to bed. So she heads upstairs, takes a shower, and gets in bed. A couple hours later, she wakes up because she thinks she hears something on her first floor. At the time, she had a close friend that was taking classes in the city, but working outside of the city, and sometimes didn't have enough time to get back to his house to shower and clean up before work. And so she'd actually given him a set of her keys so that at odd hours, when he was going between classes and work, he could just come to her house, take a shower, get changed. It was just a lot easier for him, and they were close enough, it wasn't a big deal. But he always texted her before he came to her house as a courtesy. Hey, I'm going to be there taking a shower, using your house just for a minute. And they rarely actually ran into each other because his hours were so strange. So when she wakes up and hears commotion downstairs, the first thing she does is check her phone for a text message because she's assuming that it's her friend who's just, stopped by to use the shower or change or whatever he's going to do. So she reaches over to her bedside table, grabs her phone, and she opens it, and it blinded her because she's just woken up, and she kind of squinted at her phone, and she couldn't really tell if there was any unread messages from him or not, but she just put her phone down and decided she would yell out, just a lot faster than trying to read this text message.
Oh, you dumb girl. Actually, probably not, because if she wouldn't have seen it, I bet you she still would have thought it was this friend, so...
So she yells out to him, and there's silence downstairs. And she yells out again, "Hey, is that you?" And there's silence. And then all of a sudden she hears very loud footsteps running across the first floor, charging up the stairs. She instinctively leaps out of bed, runs into her closet, which is right across from her bed. And as soon as she's literally stepping into the closet, she can hear whoever was downstairs now is in the hallway upstairs. And so the layout upstairs is there's a bedroom on the left, a bedroom on the right of the hallway.
Oh my god, that is scary as hell. Oh no. If I heard some... Although, I think I'm a bit more stupid than this girl, actually, now that I think about it, because if I heard footsteps going to my house and I don't know who is it, oh no, I'm not hiding. Oh no, I'm running over to you. I'm gonna die in my house when I whoop your... because I attempt to whoop your ass and protect my house. You ain't gonna enter my house and just bow to your command. Oh no.
Way, and straight ahead at the end there's a bathroom.
Sorry, I zoned out for a second.
And the two bedroom doors were shut. The bathroom door was open. This person bombed up the stairs and ran right past the bedroom doors, one of them she was in, straight to the bathroom. It allowed her an opportunity to pop open the attic crawl space that the access was inside of her closet. She pops that open and is able to clamber up into the attic, and is literally, her feet are still being sucked up into the attic as whoever that was, they realize she's not in the bathroom and they started charging back down. They punch open the door that she's in and they charge into her bedroom. She's trying to suck her legs up into the attic crawl space. She gets him up just in time and has her knees sucked up against her chest when he comes into her bedroom, flips on the light, and opens the closet. From her vantage point, she's looking down, and just because of the way the view was obscured, she could only make out that it was someone wearing like kind of tattered jeans with the cuffs rolled up and dirty work boots. This was definitely not her friend. And as she's looking at his shoes and pants, wondering if he's going to poke his head in and look up and see this crawl space where she is, and she has nothing she can do. If he decided to reach up and get her, there's nowhere for her to go. She didn't have her phone, it was on the bedside table, and she's just hoping that he doesn't see her. Luckily, he turns around and starts rummaging through everything in her bedroom, basically looking for her.
Oh my god. That is insane. The fact that this is happening is insane to me. And I can imagine the fear going through this girl's eyes, going through this girl's mind, as she is hoping that this guy does not find her and do anything to her. Oh my god, I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine it, even if I tried.
Flips the bed over, knocks over the dresser, and then he screams this loud scream of frustration. And as he's screaming, she pushes the little crawl space cover over the spot. So now she's completely tucked away inside of the crawl space and she can't see anything. And for the next several hours, this person was literally screaming and running around the house, punching walls, screaming, "Where are you?" Running down the hall, reopening the bathroom, going into the other bedroom, clearly knocking things over, just going crazy looking for this girl. And then it slowed down and she heard him walking around the house, and he would say periodically,
"I'm gonna find you. No, you haven't left yet. I'm gonna find you."
And she started smelling cigarette smoke. He was smoking inside of her house. And then
Oh man, so he's been at her house waiting for her to come home. Oh man, that would make it even worse. That'd make it even worse. Oh man, that would suck so much. This poor girl. Gotta be terrified as all hell.
She realized that he was probably at her house when she first got in. That's why she smelled the cigarette smoke. For hours, she huddled inside of this attic crawl space that realistically is a little bit obscured inside of the closet. You would need to be looking for it to see it. And she just hoped that he didn't find her. And so she started counting. She figured if I can just count to 1,000 with silence downstairs, if I can do that, that means he's probably gone. And so she would start counting, and she'd get to like 200, and then she'd hear him whispering or yelling or knocking something over, and she'd go back down to 0. And so all night, she basically would try to count to 1,000 until finally she did, without it being interrupted. It was probably like 5 or 6 in the morning, so it's been hours and hours of this guy looking for her in her house. And she believed that it was safe enough for her to open up the attic crawl space and kind of peek back into the room. And so she moves the attic crawl space, the little square piece of wood that blocks the crawl space, she lifts it up and moves it. And she can now see that just from her little vantage point to where his feet were, that she could see before, that clearly things have been broken. There's glass on the ground. She can see there's clothes on the ground. And she wriggles down. There's no sign of him. It's been a while since she heard him. And she darts across her now destroyed bedroom. Her bed's been flipped. Things have been broken. There's holes in the wall. She gets her phone and goes right back in the crawl space. She calls the police and is like whispering as she's talking to them because now she's worried that maybe he heard her and he's going to come back. She really doesn't know if he's gone. She just knew she had to call the police. Otherwise, she was dead if he was still there. She gets the police on the phone. They say, we'll be right there. Stay where you are. The police show up and she can hear them entering the house. They're yelling, police, we're coming inside. They search the whole house and they start yelling for her. They start yelling for her by name. And at this point, she feels comfortable opening up the crawl space and coming down to show herself. Sure enough, there's the police and they're like, there's nobody here. Do you want to walk around the house and see if anything was taken? Every room was completely trashed.
What was this guy's intention? Was his intention to find her? If so, why? If it wasn't, what did this guy want? And what happened? Like, was he just a guy who had like a psychotic episode and just happened to break into this girl's house? What was going on inside this guy's mind? It's insane. What the hell?
Holes in the wall, things broken. Whoever this was looking for her everywhere in the house and was basically rummaging through everything to try to find her. And the police are like, you're very lucky that you thought to jump into that crawl space because we found a number of your knives from your butcher block have been taken out. They were scattered around the house. It seems like he might have grabbed a knife and then in frustration was maybe looking for you and slashing at different things. Then he'd throw a knife and get another one. It's pretty clear this person was trying to do you harm, and you're very lucky that you had the wherewithal to immediately, when you heard those running footsteps, charge into the closet and hide in the attic. That almost definitely saved your life. Although she would stay at this house for another 3 years after the incident, it ultimately proved to be too difficult to stay in that house. She was constantly afraid that it was going to happen again. It was very traumatic, and so she ultimately moved. So it just goes to show that while we believe we are safe when we are home, the reality is all those locks and cameras and all the stuff we install around our house to keep ourselves safe, that's really just to keep the honest people out. The monsters out there, the evil people that want to do us harm, they don't care about breaking windows and forcing their way in. So you should always have a plan of what you would do if someone broke into your home, how you would handle it, whether it is an escape plan or even concealed weapons. But you should do something to protect yourself and have a plan in case the worst case scenario happens to you. So that's going to do it, guys. If you enjoyed the story today,
I agree with Mr. Ballen completely here. If you live on your own, or even if you live with family, make sure there is a plan in place for if your break-in happens. That way, if anything happens, if the worst case scenario does happen, you are prepared. So, that concludes it for this reaction, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. Subscribe to Mr. Ballen if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one.